Well, you guys enjoy your whatever that is.
All right. Test. Test.
Test.
Test. Test. Big movie drops on Netflix, Unfrosted. Now this looks very good. This is a new Jerry Seinfeld led production, and we talked about this a little bit previously. But this thing, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to this. It looks good. There's tons of comedians in this thing.
What day does it drop?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow, May 3rd. So definitely will be a weekend view for me for sure. It's a whole parody on Pop-Tarts. So basically,
Sure.
it's a play on the I think it's a 1950s or 60s, I think 60s set where Post cereal and Kellogg cereal were trying to create some type of a breakfast pastry. That was the thing. And Post was developing something, and Kellogg's had to, get something developed. And in reality, that did happen. So Post had this breakfast toaster pastry of some sort, and Kellogg's, of course, developed the Pop-Tart, which certainly blew up and became it's still very prevalent today, very popular item, tons and tons of flavors. I certainly grew up with Pop-Tarts, and that was certainly a go-to for several reasons. So was a parody of like the space race between the United States and Russia. They kind of portray it that way. So it looks like a lot of fun. So first of all, I'm very interested in this thing. Looks great. So Jerry Seinfeld's been getting some added publicity out there. He's doing all the talk show circuits and everything right now. But one thing that's making some social media news, excuse me, is he said something along the lines, to paraphrase, that somebody asked him a question about comedy on television, right? His take basically is that the far left has helped kill comedy, right? So this is not a political discussion per se, but some of his commentary basically says that, in the past, you could come home, and this is more along sort of a quote that he said here here it is right here. It used to be you would go home at the end of the day, and most people would go, oh, Cheers is on, MASH is on, Mary Tyler Moore is on. You just expected there'll be some funny stuff you could watch on TV. And, well, where is it? So he's basically saying that because people are more sensitive, more politically correct, the far left is driving a lot of this activity where, jokes and things are being watered down, kind of killing comedy. You don't see as much comedy on television. And he's also referring back to some of the bits he had on prior Seinfeld episodes. Like there was an episode that he refers to where Kramer was pitching a business idea where the homeless people can pull rickshaws in the street because they're already outside, which is funny, right? But Jerry is saying you can't have a joke like that today on television because it would sort of get watered down and you wouldn't be able to do it because of people. So that's a lot there. So there's a lot to unpack in all his statements here. So getting into an Ask an Idiot topic here, Dean. So do you think, is Jerry right in any of his commentary, or has comedy been sort of watered down because of woke people or wokeness or the far left or otherwise, or no, and the fact that you don't see as much comedy on television, some people are saying in part that there's just so much shit out there anymore that people get their comedy and they sit down and enjoy different things in so many different mediums anymore, like convincing idiots on TikTok, perhaps. I don't know. So what are your thoughts about his comments about the far left killing comedy, Dean?
Okay. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Yes and no.
All right. Sure.
Let me start with real quick stating what you had, how you brought this in earlier, talking about the far left. far right. Did he say the words far left?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He said the far left is killing comedy.
In so many words, yes. Mm-hmm.
No.
He did use far left. He did use far left,
but
though.
Is the far left killing comedy? Did he use that phrase? Okay, it doesn't. Honestly,
it's a pretty close
grand
quote.
scheme of things.
Pretty close quote.
So here's what it is, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Is I have everything that I've done from on here to on Twitter to anything I've done where I've told stupid jokes, I have used the mantra, "That's not funny," is an opinion,
right?
Not a fact. With that said, he is right in the sense that there is certain things that went on in 80s and 90s TV shows that couldn't be done today, simply for the fact that we all realized how it sounds, the way it looks, and how wrong it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's probably some things that he's talking about that could be done. Like, for example, the rickshaw thing. The rickshaw thing isn't bad because, like, what is funny about that is that it's explaining how wrong he is. It's explaining the absurdity in Kramer's idea that Asian people or homeless people would pull rickshaws, and how awful his idea is. It's not promoting the idea of, like, homeless people pulling rickshaws. So I think that he's a little off on the idea of saying everything, because there are certain things that, of course, would not fly and shouldn't fly, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of things, like I've been watching a lot of Cheers lately. I'm watching a lot of things and I'm going, yeah, it's not great in 2024. But then I start watching more of it and going, oh, shit, they were ahead of their time, because, like, they're explaining things. If you sit back and look at the nuances, they're explaining things in these jokes. It's okay. Perfect example. Right, Jojo Rabbit by Taika Waititi. Did you see it? I bought the DVD. I bought the DVD, Brian. I will let you watch it. That needs to be one of your next movies. All right.
Okay.
It is written and directed by Taika Waititi. It is about this boy in the 1940s who has an imaginary friend, and this imaginary friend is Adolf Hitler.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
But Taika Waititi, who is Jewish, plays Adolf Hitler. He plays Adolf Hitler as a buffoon, but he's also playing Adolf Hitler in what the story is, an imaginary character. So it shows some horrific scenes of the time period, but it also gives, like, really, really insightful and funny jokes on both sides of, like, Hitler and the boy, throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm meaning by this is, like, there was a movie in the last 10 years about Adolf Hitler as an imaginary friend, but it was done so well and so clever, and the jokes hit in the right spots.
Mm-hmm.
That nobody looked at it and go, oh my God, they're making Adolf Hitler this, a kid's friend, and he's one of the main characters. How dare you? Anything's funny if done the right way. There are plenty of, like I said earlier, there are plenty of 80s and 90s TV shows where these jokes or these premises wouldn't work. But if you look closer at these 80s and 90s television shows, you will look at, like, the nuanced jokes that absolutely would, because they were done perfectly, that are timeless.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Jerry Seinfeld is a brilliant comedian, businessman, entrepreneur, all of that. He knows what he's talking about, and he is right. There's a lot of things that couldn't work, but I don't. I see a lot of TV shows that are funny today.
Sure.
Is it his kind of humor? Maybe not, but they definitely do work. One of the other things that you got to look at is you don't have the 4 networks.
That's a lot of people are saying as well. Exactly right. There's so much
You see a lot
content.
of really edgy shit on Netflix, comedy shit on Netflix.
Sure.
And Apple Plus TV. Look at Shrinking. Ted Lasso. It was a little wholesome, but still. Have you ever watched Shrinking on Apple TV?
Nope.
It's from the creators of Scrubs and Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, edgy as shit. Really fucking edgy. Like dark shit. And it works so well. I actually keep Apple TV only for, at this point, Shrinking.
Okay.
So, with that said, there's a lot of stuff that still can work and does, but there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't. You know, we're in the 21st century. We have a lot more. We see a lot more different people. We have different values. A lot of us, not all of us, I guess. But with these values, we have to create different avenues of jokes.
Right.
You just can't, when we were kids, tell these ethnic jokes and just go, ha! If you're going to tell that ethnic joke, be smart and craft around it and make it an actual fucking joke and not just an insult.
Right. No, it's good. All good stuff. The quote, by the way, Dean, I found it here, is he said that this is a quote. This is the result of the extreme left and PC crap and people worrying so much about offending other people. When you write a script,
which is partly true.
Sure. When you write a script and it goes into 4 or 5 different hands, committees, groups, here's our thought about the joke. Well, that's the end of your comedy. And he's right in that respect.
Sure.
If it does get watered down that way.
That's always been comedy. You look at the 1950s, Mary Tyler Moore probably had jokes that like ran through different people. You had a writing room. Mm-hmm. One person wrote the joke. Next person goes, oh, what if this? Next person goes, oh, how about this? The person goes, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Like it went through a lot of people.
Sure.
It's just a different era of people.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, what you said there makes a lot of sense, and there's more than just 4 networks anymore. But there are and have been for many years edgy shows that are out there. It's been on the air for several years. You mentioned Shrinking, South Park. There's another one that comes to mind. Family Guy. There's tons of stuff that's on network television and otherwise where they put stuff out there that definitely pushes the envelope of comedy that definitely some people are going to be offended, and they don't care. They're going to push the envelope. They put it out there, and the networks, to their credit, air it anyway, knowing that some people might. It's just like, well, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you're probably not going to watch. And that's exactly what it should be. I mean, the Seinfeld series, as we know. I mean, we know that Millennial Nick has started to watch it and loves it, and it's out there. I guess that's part of the point too, where you could say, "Well, you can't
Nick is
show
very, very woke left-wing fella."
Right, exactly. But some people, he says, "Well, you can't air that today." Well, great news! Your series is out there today. You can find it on Netflix. That's right, and you get a resurgence of these shows. All these shows that might be quote unquote offensive or whatever today, most of them you can find out there, and you have to, as you're saying, you have to appreciate the fact of the era in part that they were made in. You can say that about many movies, of course, many movies and shows in general. But anyway, so it's a matter of opinion in many respects. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. Is it watered down on network television? I don't know. but there's plenty of things out there and different platforms and streaming services, etc., that definitely are more edgy and pushing the envelope. So I don't think you can just cleanly state that it's the far left or PC, where you can't at all have a forum to air jokes and things like that. You can. You certainly can somewhere, somehow, even if you put it out there on social media that's not censored at all in most respects. So that's it. So I don't know that I feel less about Seinfeld in general. I'm definitely going to watch this movie.
I will never change my opinion on Jerry Seinfeld. He's a comedic genius. He gave us,
that's right,
hands down, arguably one of the greatest television shows in history.
Absolutely.
Beautiful and hilarious stand-up. I'm never going to talk shit about Jerry Seinfeld. But also, ladies and gentlemen, he's a 70-year-old man.
Just turned 70. That's right. That's right. Keep that in mind as well.
He's got opinions.
Hey there. If you like that video, or if you just like to watch us make fools of ourselves, please like and subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you back here.
Ham gravy.
Sure.
Right now, I feel like if Don Johnson and Walter Matthau had a kid, that'd be you.
That is the greatest compliment I've ever had. Why are we not doing the show? Let's